This is Ace at the Plate on WCWPSports.org.
Joe,
Hey.
what's going on, man?
Nothing much.
Your host, Ace. We're here at Ace at the Plate, but let me just say real quick, Doug is not here today, but we have our unofficial recurring guest host, Joe, with me today.
I'll try to fill in his shoes as best as I can, but there's really no quite doing that.
We send our condolences to Doug because his grandfather passed away, so he will not be here with us, but he'll probably be joining us next week, so there you have that. I know you have your shout-out to make to your friend, right?
Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to Lou and Greg.
Yeah.
Lou, you picked up the check at lunch today. Thank you, bud. I appreciate it.
All right, nice.
Good job, Lou.
Good job, Lou. So, listen, today we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And a lot of stuff happened during Thanksgiving MLB news-wise. That's why I mentioned Thanksgiving. I remember the day, I think it was Black Friday, man. I open up Twitter. First thing I read, Ken Rosenthal. Sorry for my little...
He's got a tough last name to say.
Ken
Rosenthal.
Rosenthal. He was like, there's basically, I don't know the exact tweet, but he was like, there's going to be no action today. The market is on a standstill, possible lockout. And Joe, you were reading more into it, and
Yeah, me and you were talking about the this article, this New York Post article earlier. They met Sunday in Dallas, and they're looking to have a deal done by Thursday, but nothing's guaranteed at this point.
It's strange because they were talking about disagreements of why the deal just couldn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about multiple things. One is the qualifying offer disagreement. I heard there was sort of a disagreement with it. A lot of the players want it to be gone, and the owners don't want it to be gone because it keeps players cheap in a way. It actually just it keeps players cheaper because of all this. What do you think, man? I mean, I've been alive. I don't remember a time watching baseball.
I'm really not too familiar with the qualifying offer. All I know is that it's a 1-year thing, right? It's $17.2 million, which is a pretty good deal.
Good deal.
And if your player refuses it, you get a draft pick. But that's really all I know about the qualifying offer. I'm really not too familiar with it, so it's kind of hard to have an opinion on it. But another thing that they were talking about was the international draft.
Yeah.
And they think the owners want an international draft.
Yeah.
But the players don't want that at all.
So that's strange to me. I mean, this is my guess.
Why
right?
is that?
This is my off the cuff guess of why the players don't want this international draft, and that's one word: competition. I mean, when you look at this, and I'll bring in the recent, and this sort of ties in with Fidel Castro's death, which sort of a bad guy anyway. But Cuba, right? We're having these restoration talks with Cuba, and all these new talent is coming in. And our star player, Yoenis Cespedes, we better get him back, is Cuban. Yasiel Puig, scenery change, Cuban. I mean, but it's not just Cuban. It's Dominican Republic, Japan, Korea.
Yeah.
You're seeing people already get picked up by teams, and the owners just want to use that talent, And to be honest, I want to see that talent, and I really think that it's just a base off of competition because I'm gonna just straight up say it right now. Break the elephant in the room. We're not the best at baseball. Like our talent.
America?
No, I don't think so.
Latin America, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto
those
Rico.
guys are the best. They are the best players
because that's the sport.
It's not like it's just like that is like their number one sport.
That's their sport, and these kids. I remember I watched a thing on Jose Altuve, a little documentary on him. These kids would be hitting bottle caps with a broomstick.
I mean,
just some of the things these guys do are just insane.
Pedro Martinez, he was on MLB Network. He was telling people when he lived in the Dominican Republic how they would literally hit like milk carton caps.
Oh yeah,
like they would just hit them
whatever they could
with
find.
Broomsticks and play. I mean, these guys are living and breathing baseball.
Yeah, and American kids are pampered.
We're pampered. But
we're pampered. American kids are so much into hitting lessons and fun and keep your front foot down. But these kids just play baseball.
They
these
play
kids just
hard.
See the ball, hit the ball.
But anyway, listen. Plus, a reason why kids are so encouraged to play baseball over there is that's like a way to get out of the Dominican Republic because they don't want to stay there. They want to come here and make big money because they're poor over there. I mean, that's just the reality.
So the motivation factor over there is so
large.
So much greater.
And if you look at some of these guys in the interviews, even with Jerry's Familia, I know he's not in his greatest hour right now, but his story is unbelievable. Literally, if he wasn't drafted or signed with the Mets,
where would he be right now?
He would be in the Dominican Republic, just
doing whatever,
like picking stuff and whatever they do over there. I know it's hard manual labor.
It's not an easy life.
These guys are good and they deserve to have their shot. And Joe, you mentioned before, like, if you're good enough, you're gonna get found. And that's happened. For instance, I would like to bring an example, not even from the Dominican Republic, but what is it, Jung Ho Gong or whatever? He's on the Pirates, man. That guy is amazing. And people were going, nah, he was a superstar in Korea. People were going, oh no, he can't.
It's not going to translate.
The guy was amazing. Dude, that guy was amazing. Yeah. I don't know about this year. I think he was hurt. I think last year he was hurt or something. But there was a time last year when he was rocking the
absolutely,
like literally killing the hide off.
And
the
how
ball.
about Ichiro?
Yeah, Ichiro. I mean, we're talking about guys. It's not just the Dominican Republic, but those are just all those wide examples of how.
Of why there should be an international draft.
Yeah, because there's talent, and it's not like I think if you're good enough to play the game, you should be able to be in this. Because this is, even though quote unquote I just called out all these kids. It's not. I'm not saying that high draft picks won't come from the United States. They will. They'll always be because there's great talent here too. We've seen it. Mike Trout, one of the greatest baseball players ever. He lives here. It's not like that. I'm just saying that there's going to be more. There's just going to be more variety, more talent, and I think it would be good for the game, to be honest. I really think it would be good. But, listen, do I think the strike is going to happen? I don't think so, and for two reasons. One, and you sort of mentioned it, and that the Post article covered it. The momentum that baseball has right now
with the Cubs winning the World Series.
That is just amazing, and that would get crushed.
Worse timing.
Yeah, that would get crushed with the lockout. Yeah. And number two, man, there's too much money to get lost. I mean, these teams are making billions almost. I mean, some of these guys are really making billions of dollars. How do you think they could afford to pay all these guys millions? They're paying them millions, but these guys are making billions because they got the TV deals, they got the sports merchandise, they got all this stuff, ticket sale. It's not like just ticket sales. Not only that, guys, remember, they could rent their stadium out to anyone. Right. Like, I remember, like, Citi Field, didn't they rent their stadium? They rent their stadium out all the time to concerts. They pay for that.
Zac Brown Band.
Yeah, Zac Brown
Kanye
Band.
West had a concert over there.
Literally everyone has, they make a lot of money. Okay?
It's a business.
It's not a secret.
A business,
There's teams that make more money than others, but I would say if you're an owner of any one of the 30 MLB teams, you're pretty set. So, it's just we'll see what goes. We'll see what happens.
Although there may be some concern for the Dodgers owners.
Yeah, and we'll touch in on that too. But I'm just saying, man, the money with MLB, I think there's too much money to be made, and for the season to just lock out, it wouldn't make sense from a business standpoint. And
no, definitely not.
And again, I wasn't alive, and you weren't alive. I don't think. Were you alive? 1994? No. So
I was on the way.
You were on the way. But 1994, right? I mean, there was a strike, and I remember I'd read the comments of the news update from Ken Rosenthal, and people were going, man, I remember the strike, and I don't think baseball could survive this, or, baseball was never the same since this happened, this can't happen again, all this type of stuff. A lot of fans never came back, yada, yada, yada. So this would be catastrophic for the MLB, in my opinion. This would be catastrophic. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not, because I bet you the owners and the players know exactly what I'm saying. They know exactly, like, if the season were to stop, it would be bad. It would be really bad. So it would just be unbelievably bad. It hurts the sport so much when it happens. And baseball, listen, it's not number one anymore. It hasn't been number one in a while. Football is no secret. The most watched.
I feel like baseball, to some degree, is losing a little bit of popularity.
Yeah.
And I feel like this lockout would just make it that much more worse.
Well, yeah, it would. I mean, there's no secret. I would say, to be honest, In terms of relevance as a college student, what I hear people talk about on campus, I hear a lot of people talk about football, basketball.
Not really baseball, though.
No, then I hear baseball, then I hear hockey. And that's how I sort of look at it.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. I look at it as most popular sports in order would probably be out of the big four.
You hear about college sports a lot. You hear about college sports.
I never got into college sports, but
college basketball. That's it.
But you hear about it, and it's just crazy, man. You know. But I'm not saying baseball. In my opinion, I think it was worse in 2014. Back 2 years ago, it was or 3 years ago, whatever. I'm losing track of time. This whole world is spinning so fast.
I know.
Everything goes by so quick, but it's been getting better, right? Attendance has been up around the league, and viewership actually has gone up. And like we said, the playoff games were passing some NFL games, which never happens.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't know what's going on with the NFL.
That's good news. The NFL has its own problems, but I think everybody knows. And Rob Manfred, he's always like, "Yeah, well, what's good for business? What's good for business? This is not good for business," and he knows he's gonna get a deal done. And I know he's gonna, and that's why I'm not really concerned about it. But over Thanksgiving break, that was a big story. Go ahead. Anything else you want to say on the subject?
No, I think another good thing for baseball is what we talked about earlier, is the emergence of these new playoff teams.
Dude,
you look at the
I
Cleveland
wanted to
Indians.
transition, and you just knew it, man.
Yep.
You just knew it. I wanted.
This year, the Cleveland Indians, past couple of years, Kansas City Royals, and we were talking about it before we got on air. There are some great fan bases out there that are just, in hibernation right now.
Yeah.
You look at the Kansas City Royals. If you look at if you look at that team before 2014, you're like, I didn't even know the Royals had fans before 2014. They have a great fan base. We were looking at it before.
I got the stats.
You got the stat.
And listen, this all came up because we were talking about the Seattle Mariners trade with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we were like, wow, it's great to see these two teams have an impact and have them be projected and possibly make some noise in the postseason if they get there. And I was telling Joe, I'm like, dude, I remember seeing their viewerships are up, and they're going to be up if they have good seasons, because we always see the same teams. We don't see the Mets. Only the
Red Sox, the Yankees.
Only the last 2 years we've seen the Mets. They're still good to go back.
Dodgers, the Nationals, they won't go away.
Yeah,
and it's great to see these new teams like the Indians. Hopefully the Mariners soon.
Yeah, the Mariners, and hopefully the Arizona Diamondbacks. Actually, I had them winning. But listen, just to put this in perspective, and I want to show you, because listen, I'm no Kansas City lover or something, but they definitely gained a lot of popularity.
I just think it's fascinating that before 2014, their fan base was basically non-existent.
Even in 2014, though, because it was only toward the end. In 2014, and again, they were in the World Series that year. Not a big market team, 24th out of 30 in attendance. Not good, right? Then 2015, after they made noise, and they ended up winning the World Series, 10. That's a huge, and that's just attendance alone. That doesn't count TV viewership. That's attendance alone.
Yeah.
More we're watching on TV, obviously. So that just goes to show that when these new teams make big trades, and when they actually become projected winners, and they have good seasons, and they haven't been in the postseason in a while, that re-energizes fan bases.
I can't explain. For some reason, I want to see Seattle.
I want to see Seattle.
I want to see Seattle.
I want to see Seattle and Arizona. I want to see them both.
I just feel like that city, like I mentioned before, the 12th man.
Great coffee.
Great coffee. Yada yada yada, but the 12th man, they're rabid. I feel like if the Mariners won, that city would be
wild,
electric.
Yeah, and listen, they're again, I've never been to Seattle, but they just seem like a likable type of town. They're a town I don't got a problem with. And just to keep going on my Royals statistics, this year, even though they had a good beginning, but they were about a 500 team, you would think, the viewership dipped off. Dude, they were 12th in attendance. So. And they weren't even close to the postseason this year. So what I'm saying is, if you could, like, even if you don't win the whole thing, like what the Royals did, if you get into the postseason, your numbers fly up because people go, you know what happens? The bandwagon fans, some of them go, not all of them, but some of them go, man, this is so awesome. I should have been watching this all year. I'm going to definitely watch next season, maybe go to a game. That's what happens. So it's good for baseball when these other teams, and we saw it with the Cubs. But the Cubs are a big city. Chicago's a big sports
it's a big
town.
market. Yeah.
But I'm saying, Kansas City, I wasn't talking about Kansas City before 2014. I don't think anyone was.
I don't even think I could tell you one player on their team before 2014.
So I'm just saying, it's just... That's just how it is. And I know we only have 57 seconds just to prep you before if we get anything into big stuff. But I'm just saying, man, it's great for baseball to see. And I want to see the Dodgers get out of that. I want to see the Arizona Diamondbacks win that division, just come out of nowhere. Like, I predicted them last year to do it. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Even the Rockies. And that was a team that surprisingly...
Dude, you told me today.
They finished 11th in attendance last year.
11th in
pretty
attendance.
Fascinating.
Like, what?
Think about
it.
it.
And we were talking about, the attendance with the Rockies because a lot of people come from the opposing teams. But still, is it that many? I mean, maybe they do have a diehard fan base. I mean, they got some great, crazy players. Those games are crazy fun to watch with Coors Field and stuff. With the balls flying out. I would love to hang out there. We only got 8 seconds, and we're going to come back to you talking more baseball. So stay tuned at Ace at the Plate, and hopefully we see you after the break. Well, you'll hear us.
A museum is the best place to time travel. Make your next trip easier by joining the Gold Coast Library Museum Pass program. As a member, you can borrow a free admission pass for your family to local museums like the Cradle of Aviation Museum, the Long Island Children's Museum, and more. For more info, call 516-759-8300 or visit goldcoastlibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Yes, it's Enjoy Life. Mondays at 11 with me, your joyologist, Naomi Joy. Here our guests reveal how they are bringing new pleasures, passions, and fun into their later years. You can, too. Enjoy Life, Mondays at 11.
Only on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. You're listening to Ace at the Plate.
All right, we are back, and we're going to talk about the trade because we were just talking about Seattle and the Arizona Diamondbacks. So what do you got? What was the trade? Because that was the biggest thing that happened this weekend.
I'm looking at it right now.
Besides the other stuff.
Okay, so the Mariners acquired infielder Gene Segura.
Okay.
Right, for an exchange, Gene Segura and Taijuan Walker. Those were the two big pieces.
Segura almost won the batting title or something.
Yeah, Gene Segura had a great year. I'm pulling up his
I think it was a
stats
career
right now.
year. But yeah, keep going. So then you had one guy you mentioned. I don't know the team of Seattle. I could only name one guy, and I don't even know if he's still playing. Felix Hernandez.
Well, he's certainly in there.
Who else? I don't know anyone else in there. I know that Noriaki was there
the Mariners.
last year, but that's it.
The Mariners rotation you're talking about?
Just anyone. Dude, who's their first baseman?
Well, they got Robbie Cano.
Okay, that's it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I love the Mariners. Like I'm not like a diehard Mariners fan, but I'm just saying like
they're a likable team.
They're a likable team, but they're just irrelevant.
They're irrelevant.
Okay, but do you know
they're irrelevant?
But do you know their first baseman? Just tell me that. Do you know
their first baseman?
If you tell me your first baseman, I'll be impressed with you.
The Seattle Mariners first baseman.
You're not gonna know.
I'm not looking it up.
No one's gonna know. Dude.
I have no idea.
Who's their catcher?
Their catcher.
Yeah.
He's like a big guy. It was like a big. He's like
a
really
big
fat guy, but that's kind of like every catcher.
Yeah, it's
I don't know
exactly. So what I'm saying is, dude, it's great. So they're sort of why I mentioned that is that there was this one guy from who'd they get? Who was the pitcher?
Taijuan Walker.
Never heard of the guy in my life. Okay, I'm sure he's a great guy. So I go, wow, they traded Gene Segura. So I'm like, who's this other guy? And you even told me, sorry to blow up your spot, you didn't know who that guy is until you played MLB The Show. I mean, who is that guy?
And I had the Mariners as my franchise team. No,
Well, go ahead.
He's
Talk
he's
about it.
he's good. I mean, just a brief little scouting report on
Yeah,
him.
go ahead.
He's a power guy. He's
Yeah.
got
He's a pitcher.
Yeah, he's got hard stuff. He's got 95 to 97 stuff. Good curveball. I think he just struggles with his command sometimes. At least that's what it seems like with his
Yeah,
ERA because
definitely.
he's got a 4.22 ERA, which isn't terrible, but
It's not.
it's not outstanding.
It's not
but
Noah Syndergaard.
It's not nobody's Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
He went 8-11. The year before that, 2015, he went 11-8 with a 4.56 ERA. So it just kind of tells me that he's got good stuff, but he might struggle with his command sometimes.
Well, his numbers.
And I think a good pitching coach could change that. And maybe, who knows, a change of scenery in Arizona could also.
You mentioned my key line, like you
Yeah,
said before,
change the
dude.
scenery. That's what it's all about.
I'm like the biggest advocate of changing scenery. I think that sometimes, and it's not all the time. It's not like every time a player goes into a slump, you need to change the scenery. That's not it.
Right.
But there are just some situations where a guy hasn't performed well in a while, and I mean like maybe like a few years slump. And then it's just
like Jason Bay.
Like change of scenery might transform your career. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm just saying there's a chance that it could transform your career.
I mean, there's a lot of examples of it. I mean, look at Jose Bautista.
Yeah.
Jose Bautista, I don't know if he's dirty. I don't know if he's doing PEDs, whatever. But, he was a guy who was in Pittsburgh, got brought up by Pittsburgh. I need to look into that, but he wasn't relevant. And then all of a sudden he goes to the Blue Jays and he starts raking. So it's happened. It's happened with a lot of guys. And, it's not unheard of. It's more mental than anything.
It's just, it's absolutely insane how a change of scenery could do a lot. And there's another example, okay? And all of you are going to know this example the second I say it. Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce raking in Cincinnati, leading the RBIs in the league at the time of the trading deadline. Big, that's big stuff. I know he had a good lineup surrounding him. Mets had a decent lineup surrounding him.
Impressive numbers.
He had some good numbers. I mean, I still wasn't
Coming into
happy
New
with the
York.
deal before it even got done because it's just the type of player he is. But he had great numbers. You couldn't argue he was having a great year, and he comes to New York, and what happens? He's just dead quiet, right? He's just completely dead quiet, and I mean that's just it right there. I mean, it's unfortunate, it's sad, but that's just.
But you know what? It's a small sample size. I mean, he played with us for 2 months.
That's true.
Give the guy the season. If I'm Terry Collins, I say to him, look, you're a right fielder. Obviously, it's your job to lose. I'm going to play you every day, and see how he does. I was listening to the Michael Kay show about a week ago. And you can say it's New York, but if you look at the list of guys who aren't successful in New York as compared to guys who are successful in New York, the list of people who aren't successful is a lot shorter. I mean, people can handle it. It's not like people can't handle New York. I mean, Jason Bay couldn't, right? There's a few guys who couldn't.
There's some guys who
I don't
can't
think
handle it.
I don't think it's that.
Again, there's a lot of BS that's thrown around. Listen, there are some guys who seriously can't handle it. I mean, there really is some guys, but it's not like every guy that goes into a slump. He might be one of those guys. He might not. The reason why I don't think it's not that Jay Bruce can't even perform in New York, and maybe he can't. I just don't like the type of player he is because he's always been that type of player, just like Lucas Duda, the streaky guy, the guy that's just going for the long ball. Those guys are not. They don't get it done all the time. They do get the home run. They get like the 30 home runs a year, and that's it. Right. They got a bad on base percentage.
Come in 1 month.
Yeah, and they got all right average, bad on base percentage, and 30 home runs. That's not my type of guy. If I was a GM, I wouldn't build my team around one guy like that or a few guys like that. So that's why I'm so down on Jay Bruce all the time. But listen.
You gotta give the guy the year.
We'll give him the year, but I don't want to give him the year because that means that we gave away Cespedes. So I don't want to go on that year.
Well, look, the guy is for how long's he been in the league for? 6 years?
Yeah, listen, Jay Bruce, dude.
I mean, every year he's been in the league, he's been a 30 home run guy.
Jay Boss?
I know.
I'm sorry. Like you bring this up, and I go, all right. You come on to the second half because you want to know what bothers me the most about the Jay Bruce trade 2020 hindsight is again, and now a lot of people, I guess,
Your boy
weren't high on.
Dilson. Yeah.
Dude, I was the highest.
You love Dilson Herrera.
I've said it on the show before you've come on. I remember, and you guys know if you've been listening to the show. Told Doug before any of this happened, Dilson Herrera. Yeah, there's a rant on YouTube. You can go look it up. Joe Beningo ranting about Dilson Herrera. It's hilarious because he's
Like he loves him? Like he's for him?
like he's for
Or
him.
he didn't? Oh, okay.
It was a time during the 2016 season.
Okay.
Where is this guy? Call this guy up
All right.
right now because what was it? Neil Walker struggling so bad. That it was like there was because that was like when Neil Walker was struggling so bad. Dilson was wrecking in AAA. He was gonna be here next year, so it was like the hype train.
Well, I remember you talked to me about that. I remember a few months ago in Hillwood, you talked to me about that, and you told me that they should bring up Herrera and do whatever with Walker. And I know you were big on Dilson Herrera.
I was a big Dilson Herrera guy. Guess who else is a big Dilson Herrera guy?
Doug?
Keith Hernandez.
Oh, Keith. Oh, yeah, Keith does
Dude,
like Dilson.
whenever Dilson Herrera came up to the plate or he was mentioned, Keith would be like, I like that guy. Keith would literally, he'd say that. He'd say, I like that guy. I like that guy's swing.
Take it from the best non-Hall of Famer.
Tell you this. If Keith Hernandez likes that guy, I love that guy. Tell you that right now. Keith Hernandez was
Good
talking about that guy.
fundies.
And by the way, listen. Oh, yeah, good fundies. But also, one thing also I loved about Dilson, and again, if I was a baseball GM, Dilson is the type of prospect I would really put high in our system because his energy. Like, I think a team it's important with energy. You see that with Jose Reyes when he came. The team was just like refueled. When Cabrera came back, Cespedes came back, you had Reyes. That team was full of life.
Yeah.
Not just the Lucas Duda, Jay Bruce come up to the plate, put all of it in, strike three, you're out, sit down. It was energy. It was working counts.
You need a player like
making
that.
pitchers work.
Yeah.
That's baseball I like to see.
Yeah.
Listen, I love the home run. I love watching the home run. It's great. But there's something about
You need a scrappy player like that.
dude. There's
You need
something about
energizing player like that.
there's something about working the count like that literally might turn me on. Like there's just something like when you watch those pitching duels, and this is how you know you're a baseball nerd when you're watching the pitching duel, and like everybody else, like the casual fan, will be watching and go, "Wow, he didn't hit anything yet." But like you're thinking, because you know everything about it, man, that pitcher's running out of stuff to throw. That pitcher's running out. What to me? It's the greatest thing. It's part of the reason why I love baseball is because some people see baseball as like a boring sport, but for me, it's like it is slow paced, and then there are times where there is prolonged intensity. That's how I'd like to describe it because baseball, it could be 0-0 forever, and it's like not intense at all. Like
Right.
people, it's just pitchers duel. But then there are games where, or there are times in that game when it's like the ninth inning, it is 1-0, but bottom of the ninth inning, and that one team that's in the bottom has two men on, 0 out.
Right.
That's when the game goes, oh crap.
Right.
And like that's when the game turns up. Like that's like that's why I sort of think baseball sort of fell out of popularity in a bit because
everything's fast paced today.
yeah. But listen,
what I mean?
dude, I'm telling you, it's almost like it's worth the wait because that to me, I can't live in any other sport. I can't get onto that. The closest thing I could
Like
watch.
I think a walk-off home run is the greatest
Yeah,
thing
it's
ever.
the greatest thing because the storylines, the length of the season, because you're so invested with the team. It's a fairy tale. And this just sounds ridiculous. How I'm talking about it. It's just a sport. Some people go, it's just a game, but this is my love.
Yeah.
This is what I love to do. I don't watch any other sports. Listen, if I was gonna watch another sport, I'm as busy as a guy as it is. So baseball's my sport, right? When it's on, I watch sports. When it's not, I don't. But if I was going to watch another sport, it would be basketball.
Basketball.
But the thing is, I'm
basketball.
not missing anything with basketball because we have the Knicks and we have the Nets. I mean, who
Knicks
are these guys?
Knicks are doing okay.
I don't know. Dude,
No, they're doing all right. They're 500. They got a 7
okay,
spot right now,
so
but
are
it's
they
but it's
going all
early.
the
It's
way?
early.
Are they going all the
They're
way? dude?
probably not going all the way, but
They're going. No, but listen, I remember because my dad would take me to Madison Square Garden sometimes. Great fun. Basketball is good. I just don't have time to watch all these different sports. So I pick baseball and do
you know
baseball's
what?
my
I
love.
watch. I love baseball's my favorite sport by far. Runs away with it. I'm unfortunate to be a Jets fan. They're horrible this year. I watch a little bit of college basketball. St. John's over in Queens, that's my team.
Yeah.
But this is really just stuff to watch to take up the time until baseball season.
Baseball. But I was just saying, man, I don't know if you feel that with the intensity. It's like it is. There are times when I'm just like refreshing my phone during a baseball game.
Yeah.
Because like nothing is happening yet. And then when the stuff happens, that's when it's. But I'm just saying, where I got into this talk by talking about the pitching duels. When you have a guy that works counts, and this is how Sandy technically built this team, even though he swayed away from.
You know who's a Sandy guy? Curtis Granderson.
Yeah.
He is a Sandy Alderson.
Work the count, and it makes sense to me. Like if I was going to be a baseball player, I'd actually try and do that. Work the count, because if the pitcher throws everything he's got on you, and you're just letting it go, if you work the count in your favor, you're going to get a pitch to hit. It's going to happen every time. If you work the count 3-0, right? You're not swinging at bad pitches. You got a good eye. If he throws a ball or it's a good pitch to hit, you could swing at it. You could let the ball pass and you could just get a walk, get on, or he's probably he needs to throw it in the strike zone. You could get a pitch to hit.
Sometimes he's cornered.
It's science, man. It's like,
and that's
why I just love seeing people.
And another
work
thing
the
I
count.
love about baseball, it's so obvious. I'm sure people have heard this before, but it's like just the thing I love is in basketball or football you can kill the clock. You know what I mean? And you can
Baseball
kneel.
Can't kill.
Right. You can kneel and kill 35 seconds. You could just pass the ball and kill the shot clock. Baseball, 27 men, 27 outs. Everybody gets their last shot. That's what I love about the game.
Baseball, yeah, and you're right. And, just I think the longest baseball game has gone on for like 12 hours, which is actually hilarious.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I've looked it up.
The longest baseball
I
game?
believe it's 12 hours. 11 hours, it could be 11.
That's half a day.
Can you imagine that? Can you just imagine that? Can everyone just imagine that? Playing
How do you do
baseball
that?
for about 11 hours?
It
It was back in the dead ball era. It was like the 1920s.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like 11
hours.
Listen,
That's ridiculous.
I'll tell you this. I wouldn't watch the whole game. I tell you, if that actually happened modern day, I don't think I would sit there for 12 hours.
I think the Mets held the record for the longest postseason game played. It might be, someone might have it now.
Throw out your is this for sure, or don't quote you on this?
Don't quote me on this.
Throw out
but
your guesstimate right now.
The Robin Ventura Grand Slam single, you know what game I'm talking about? Back in 1999.
No, I don't.
No, you're not really a Met fan then. But anyway,
dude, I wasn't watching it. Dude, I was 4 years old. What are you talking
I don't really
about?
remember it either. But it's like it's one of the biggest moments in Mets history. Robin Ventura hit a Grand Slam single, they called it, because it was Game 5 NLCS versus the Braves. They were trying to force Game 6. Their back was up against the wall. They were down 3-1. Bases were low. This game, there was a rain delay, and it went to like 15 innings.
Yeah.
So the game was like, I think it was close to like 7 hours or something. It was stupid. Robin Ventura gets up with the bases loaded, winning runs on third, and he hits a grand slam. He hits it over. But what happens is he rounds first, and all his teammates go and mob him halfway between first and second.
By the way, I just thought about this midway. I was actually 3 years old.
You were 3?
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so he rounds first, and his teammates mob him halfway between first and second. So his run, so they called it a grand slam single. If you look it up on YouTube during the break, it's awesome.
Wow,
it's one of the best
crazy.
moments in Mets history. And,
I remember one thing that's always referenced on the broadcast. I've never watched the game, but there was like a 4th of July game that went on until like 3 a.m. in like the 80s or something. That's a big moment in Mets history. I know
that was the Mets and Braves.
Yeah, it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and something happened.
You had a Yankees game this year that went to like 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
Yeah, no, there was one of those late Yankee games. But listen, baseball, it's a unique sport.
Yep.
It's an American sport. It's my favorite sport.
It's my favorite sport too.
It's I got a talk show on it. You're on the talk show. I mean, baseball it's the greatest. It really is the number one thing, and I think that I just think it's so important. And
you know what's another great thing about baseball is that anybody can play it. You know what I mean?
Well, Not
No. Hear me out. What I'm trying to say is that to play basketball, most of the time you need to be tall, right? To play football, you got to be big and buffed and strong, right? And you got to get through and tackle the quarterback. Baseball, look at Jose Altuve. The guy's 5'6", and he's one of the most successful players in the game.
One of the things I love that you bring that up because you got fat guys who are successful.
Look at the Prince Fielders and the CC Sabathias. You know?
Bartolo Colon.
Who's
a Brave now. Can't even believe it.
Yeah,
but anyway.
That's a sensitive subject.
Did you see him in a picture with the...
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, don't talk about it. But anyway, look, but then you got the skinny, slim guys who run fast, steal bases.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that usually work the counts because they don't have the power.
Yeah.
And then you have the big power guys who just go for the home run. I mean, you just... If you're built a way, you could do it. Like, usually the catcher...
There's a position for you if you're built a certain way.
I mean, the only when I brought that out, I sort of objected a bit because I didn't know which way you were going to go. The only advantage that basketball and football have over baseball is an expensive and a big game to play.
That's true. I mean, a bat is $100.
First of all,
it's insane.
that and what you're going to need 18 I almost cursed on air. You're going to need 18 people in this day and age. Can you imagine I know you have your sports team that's organized.
You need 18 people.
Imagine just call up,
football, you need 22.
I know, but some people, I remember playing football and, there just wasn't everybody. Maybe it's not real football, but there wasn't 22
you play
kids.
Pickup game 6-on-6 or something.
It's I guess you could do that in baseball, but no one does that. I mean, listen, I don't know.
It's just different.
It's different, but it's a great game, and I think what we need to do, and this is what Rob Manfred says, is we need to pass baseball on to our kids.
Seriously.
We're sort of that generation that they're talking about us. They're talking when they talk about we need to pass baseball to our kids. We love it. We got it passed down, and we need to do the same. And
I feel like kids today, like a 5-year-old today, isn't really they'd be more into basketball or something than baseball.
But I'm gonna listen. I'm doing my part.
Yeah,
me too. I would love to watch games with my kid, and take a kid to a game.
And you know what? Another thing is that I think is worth some thought is there's so much hype or whatever you want to call it on concussions. I know we're running out of time now.
I know we are.
On concussions in football, so that's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and again, we have 5 seconds. We're going to talk about a lot more stuff. We're going to talk about this next, the Chris Sale stuff and some Cespedes stuff. And then
why not?
Because why not? Because that's all we do here. But anyway, we will see you after the break. Stay tuned.
Looking for some informal stress relief and a relaxing way to get to know your neighbors? Try adult coloring. It's like coloring for kids, but harder to stay in the lines. It's on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. in the Port Washington Public Library. For more info, call 516-883-4400 or visit pwpl.org. The community calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Welcome to Know That Song. Get ready, here's your first tune. That's right, that's absolutely correct. Let's see if you can guess this next one. Nice going. That wasn't easy. Here's your last and final song. Wow. How could you not get that one? You can be a winner all the time with rock music for adults. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. That is correct.
Calm. You may already have high blood pressure. Relax and find out with the free blood pressure screening available the second Wednesday of every month at 12 noon in the Westbury Memorial Public Library. For more info, call 516-333-0176 or visit westburylibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
You're listening to Ace at the Plate on WCWPSports.org.
All right, so we are back, and me and Joe, well, I mentioned it, but we want to talk about the Chris Sale thing because there's been rumblings all over baseball about Chris Sale. He's a pitcher on the White Sox. Notoriously...
He's got 3 years left on his deal.
He's got 3 years, but he hasn't It hasn't been. This is another guy with the change of scenery. He's putting up good numbers, but he doesn't get along with the White Sox thing. With the White Sox, not the clubhouse. It's like the front office. I don't know if you remember. I covered it on the show. This was so long ago that it was before Doug was on. He cut up his White Sox All-Star jersey.
Yeah.
Just ever since then, it's been really weird. So. I mean, it's one of the weirdest things you could ever cover.
That is the weirdest baseball story I've ever come across. He literally took all these uniforms and just cut them into bits.
Like, it wasn't just his. It was like the whole team, I heard.
The whole
team.
It was during batting practice because everybody was out.
Yeah.
He just cut the jerseys off.
So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, the Nationals are one of the big teams that are being floated around. And you have a list up about prospects.
These are a list of the untouchables.
Yeah.
These are a list of the guys. There's a lot of teams rumored to be connected with the White Sox and Sale. One of them is the Red Sox. The Rangers are rumored. The Dodgers, the Nationals, which is our biggest nightmare. The Astros and the Braves. Now here's a list of some of the untouched. For the Dodgers, Julio Urias. I was at this kid's debut. This guy, because he debuted against the Mets.
Yep.
This kid
I remember. And we killed him.
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
we
didn't
killed him.
literally kill him.
We killed him. He had a rough. His first couple starts, Citi Field, Wrigley, rough
But
places to
he's a
start.
good prospect.
He's a great prospect, and I mean he's only I think 20 years old. He's in the making. The Rangers, they would want Odor, but Rangers have marked him as untouchable. I mean, come on. I mean, he's the best. He's the best boxer in the MLB. You can't let him go.
Could I just say something really, really quick? We won't cover it, but did you hear about the Texas Ranger prospect scandal?
No.
About 20 of their minor league prospects are being charged with sexual assault.
20 of their prospects?
Yes, because of a hazing thing that they do. And Odor's little brother. That's why you remind me of it. They, excuse me for my graphic nature, but I'm going to be graphic here. I'm going to be frank. They made this guy. I don't know 100% the story. It was either they forcefully sucked his penis or, and listen, these are words. These aren't swear words.
We're just telling you what happened.
We're just telling you what happened. Or it's either one or two. I can't remember. You should pull up the article.
Okay,
we should cover this. But
okay.
Listen, they either made him suck their penises or they had to suck his penis. I'm dead serious. Please look this up. Actually, now.
Well, now we have to.
Now we have to. But listen, on the short, what we were going to say about Chris Sale, we might get back into it.
I don't know how we turned Chris Sale into
because you said
that.
Odor. You said Odor. Wait. Please look that up. So I'm not crazy. So people
No.
don't think
You know what? I actually saw that on Twitter. But I thought it was like a. I want to know. I thought it was a fake tweet or something.
No, it's real.
It's real?
It's real.
Okay.
It's real. And Odor's brother's being charged with this hazing thing. I'm sorry.
Rangers prospects.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
You see it, right?
This.
Can you read it?
I'll read it. Okay, this is from the Daily News.
Because I remember
November
seeing
27th.
this. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that the day we got off break or something? It was
yesterday. Texas. Stupid ads.
Oh yeah, no, I feel you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We just completely killed the Chris.
Little
Sale
technical.
song.
No, this is great.
This is great, right? Because I just remembered that this is huge.
Okay, so the name of the article is Texas Rangers prospect hazing scandal is going to get, quote, really bad.
Yeah, it's funny too.
So this was written yesterday. I'm not going to get into the whole article.
Yeah, but like just so I know what actually happened. Do you know? Like, does it say? It was something.
Okay, so Yahoo Sports reported that the younger brother of Rangers second baseman Rougned Odor,
which is why I brought it up,
who was also named Rougned, which is like the weirdest thing ever.
Weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, and the Rangers' top catching prospect, Yohei Pozo, will be charged. Both the younger Odor and Pozo, they're both 19. The Rangers contacted Major League Baseball about the alleged case of sexual misconduct, and MLB is investigating. One Dominican scout who does not work for the Rangers told the Daily News that several people involved in the alleged incident had already been jailed, but the scout did not know any specific names. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So
they're not really getting too much into it.
okay, but
They're
I
just
remember
talking
I
about-
read it's something along those lines. Isn't that the most bizarre thing you could read?
It is
like
bizarre.
that's bizarre. You got these prospects doing this stuff.
I'm trying to look. Because this is the Daily News. This is like a polished site. I'm
Yeah.
trying to look on like a more,
Legit. more-
not like a blog where someone
Dude,
would actually
they
be
had
real.
the details. It was messed up. I read it, my jaw literally like dropped open. And again, basically, because I really do feel bad, Chris Sale, we just don't want him on the Nationals. That was the talk. And they would have to trade Trey Turner, which they don't want to do, so we'll see.
They've marked Trey Turner as untouchable.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm the Nationals, I mean, this kid was their leadoff hitter. He batted over 300.
Yep.
Not only that, he's got some pop too. This
Yeah.
kid, and he's freaking fit. He's like a 5-tool player. So, the Nationals have a real find with this kid, and they're better off not trading him. I mean, even if it's for Chris Sale. And I think, and we were talking about it before, I think the Nationals have a pretty good rotation even without Chris Sale. Obviously, Chris Sale doesn't hurt, but, I think if anything, they might need bullpen help.
Okay,
but
I found the story, by the way. I
Okay.
found the Yahoo Sports story. I'm
that
sorry.
computer's better than mine, so.
Okay. While prosecutors in the Dominican Republic have yet to press charges for the alleged assault, they told the court that they intend to charge at least 4 players, so 4 people in the organization, who held, and 2 of those are the Odor younger brother
and that catcher.
and that catching prospect.
Right.
They, and this is quote, held down a teammate and masturbated him. That is the most bizarre hazing scandal I think I've ever. Oh wait, there's
How
more.
is-
A 10-second video obtained by Yahoo Sports shows the alleged victim in a Rangers shirt and Rangers shorts laying on a bed with his arms held behind his back and his legs pinned down. At least 4 men are seen in addition to the alleged victim, whose penis is exposed, grabbed and maneuvered underneath a hand towel. All of the men in the video, including the alleged victim, are seen laughing. What is this?
You
What's
know what?
going on?
And
Isn't that bizarre?
you know what? I don't even know what to say to that.
What? I'm sorry. Like this is why we cover it. This is, you know what? Don't blame me. Don't blame me.
You know what?
Blame Winter
There is-
Baseball.
oh,
Blame.
and like seriously, there's a different way to go about hazing. What do the Mets do? They make their rookies dress up in girly outfits.
Yeah.
You saw it. They dressed up as
Yep.
a league of their own.
Yeah.
The Racine.
They make them. They always
skirt,
make them.
which
dress
I think
as
is
well.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's cool. Like go
And I
dress
think-
up as a chick.
And I
you
think
know?
some of them actually, like Gavin Cecchini, I actually thought that he was a girl.
Wow.
But
I
yeah,
didn't know.
but it's like that's funny, like that's
Yeah.
and it's appropriate. But this is
Or some people
gets
like,
to a
or
point.
sometimes they hassle
It gets
them.
to a rich incognito point
Yeah.
where you can't do this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you can, but there's
This
a
wouldn't be
line.
covered if two Rangers prospects, notable prospects, and one of them, and you mentioned Odor, and then I just went, whoa, Odor,
Wait a
I
minute.
remember. So yeah, his younger brother with the same name, which is strange.
Which is
It's not even like junior or number 2. It's literally just, again,
Just
they
Ruth
love
Lid.
the name. They loved it. And then you have the top catching prospect in their organization. So it's in their Dominican Republic thing. And listen, I'm just saying, man, there's no comment at this time.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
what's
just the
what's
most-
to say, right?
What's to say? What's to say about that? It's actually
Our
funny.
prospects are idiots. You
Our
know, they can play
prospects,
baseball, but they're
okay,
idiots.
this even goes in we're college students. Even this goes into fraternities. Some of them.
Yeah,
first
they-
of all, hazing is banned, but I assume I'm not saying that they are, and I don't know if they are. I would assume there's some hidden stuff going on because
There's definitely stuff you don't hear about.
but it's
But
but some of
this
them
is,
are
like,
dangerous.
sick, dude.
You know,
This is
people
gross.
die in some of these hazing things, and that's why the hazing. But if you're gonna do the hazing, man, you gotta do it in a safe way and a non-sexual assault way. Just when I read that story, and I sat there, I go, "Am I really reading this? Did this happen?" And I know it's just, it's so unreal that
Yeah.
you just don't believe that it happened. So that's just what I want to inform all of you
Yeah.
that
You know what? Don't
happened.
If you're a prospect and
don't jack off your
don't
teammate
jerk off
against
your
his
teammates
will.
because that's that's just weird, and it's borderline. It's
like, okay, even if you're gay,
I'm not gonna
like,
say it. It's
listen,
yeah. Well,
even if
now that
you're-
you said it,
I'm
it's
gonna say
borderline
it.
homosexual.
No, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that that's
Not
a
that I
bad
have anything
thing.
against homo.
No,
you know.
I don't have anything against homosexuals. It's just not appropriate.
It's not.
No,
exact-
can I
it's
just
not
say
appropriate.
it's not appropriate to take your teammate against his will and jack him off. I don't care if you're gay, straight.
Yeah,
I don't care what you are.
That's what I'm trying to say.
If
You
you're
took the
a-
words out of my mouth.
If you are whatever you are, it's not that he jacked him off. It's not that they could do whatever. It's funny to think because it's just so unbelievable. But it's okay to be gay. Just don't sexually assault your teammates.
Out of all the things you could do, what makes you say, "Hey, I want to jack off my teammate"?
And they apparently, like, again, he was tied up in the bed. They were all laughing. What? Like, I don't know. Like, and again, no problem. I just want to stress it. No problem with homosexuals. It's just,
Of course not.
don't sexually
Not
assault.
Daniel Murphy.
Yeah,
over
we're
here.
not Daniel Murphy. Just don't assault your teammates. So strangest thing I think I've ever read. And the Rangers are just, they have had a couple of troublemakers in their organization. They have this top pitching prospect.
And his
who's-
older brother's throwing punches at
Yeah.
Jose Bautista.
No, but didn't
even
they-
though I have to admit that was awesome.
Didn't they have a pitching prospect that didn't pitch for years?
Yeah,
and he made his debut this year.
Bush.
Bush.
I don't know his
something Bush.
first name. But yeah, this was a guy. Just to give
DUI, right? Multiple DUIs. Was in prison.
Just to give a quick little story on him, he got drafted, I want to say 2004, a long time ago. And it wasn't by the Rangers. I think it was by the Padres. Look up Bush. Bush Range. I think it's
Is it? I know it's Bush. I remember the last name.
Nick Bush? No?
No, I'm about to tell you right now. I'm trying to really. Matt Bush.
Matt Bush.
Matt Bush.
This kid was a first
overall
rounder.
Pick in 2004, and he made his debut.
And then
in
he
2016.
just couldn't stay out of trouble. I mean, just multiple DUIs, just bad news. And he ended up making his major league debut this year. And was a pretty good relief pitcher for them.
Doug just texted me, and he reminded me I didn't have my silencer on. But, yeah, Matt Bush. We got it. We got Matt Bush.
Yeah.
And isn't that just, again, 2004, it's a long time ago.
7-2
Good, yeah.
with a 2.48 ERA this year. I mean, wow. For a guy who hasn't pitched in it's his rookie season, basically. It is his rookie season. Crazy.
Isn't that just...
I mean, the guy's a freak talent. He was a first-round draft pick.
Listen, I'm just saying...
But
that's why, and that's what that story reminded me of.
It's a great
Because you just
story.
had another Texas Ranger
Yeah.
going to jail,
Well,
and
he
now
didn't
you
come-
have two prospects that are going to be in trouble for this this terrible action that they committed amongst their
well,
teammates.
he came up. He got drafted by the Padres, and then he went to Tampa Bay and then Texas. But I guess Texas is into these type of guys.
Texas
they're-
might be into these type of
They're
troublemakers.
they're into these Rick Vaughn type of
listen,
guys.
You got the punching, you got the DUIs, and you got this sexual assault. So
They're into
not
these,
good. And then
yeah.
wait a minute. We're not done here. What is
Yeah.
it, Josh Hamilton with the cocaine?
Josh Hamilton. They
What's
love
going
these
on?
guys. What's going
no,
on?
I'm genuinely.
I'm onto something
I'm
now.
genuinely shocked.
I'm trying to think of other people now. I don't know.
Because you had him on cocaine multiple seasons. Multiple seasons he was on cocaine.
Yeah.
And he was addicted. And listen, I'm not saying it's a sickness.
Yeah, I
But-
remember back when the Rangers used to be good. I mean, they still are good, but
They're
back
good.
when they were winning stuff, they wouldn't celebrate with champagne. They'd have to celebrate with ginger ale because they were afraid Josh Hamilton was going to have a relapse.
That's
I'm
actually
serious.
that's just it goes to show. That's why whenever I see when I saw that came out, I just had like a flashback of Texas and jail, and
Here's a picture of Matt Bush, by the way.
yeah,
in his,
wow,
in
you could look
his
that up.
prison.
Matt Bush prison. Think about
It's
what
the
do you
first thing that comes
what do you think he's thinking, right? Like in there, he's probably thinking, man, like I'm ruining my life. I could be in the Rangers organization right now, doing my thing, but now I'm just sitting in prison. And listen, I'm happy he had a good year. I'm happy he's out of prison. I hope he's doing well. And it just, it's crazy.
Not a big guy either. 5'9". Throws 96 miles an hour. It's just a freak talent. Great talent.
Okay, we're getting live text from Doug. Ran
Wow,
over a
what's he
guy's
doing?
head
What's he
with a
saying?
car and drove off.
Huh?
That's what Matt Bush did. Ran over a guy's head with his car and drove off.
Really? So he's a murderer.
I don't know if the guy died, but isn't that just
Jesus?
Listen, man, Texas, you have got to straighten your stuff out. You got to get your prospects in line.
Yeah.
You gotta have
Yeah.
like
have
overseers for
just-
your prospects. Like the manager's got to give them a call at like 9:00 at night and say, "Yo, you're not going out, right?"
Yeah,
You know,
like,
because all this stuff, like
I mean, Sandy Alderson's an ex-Marine. You know, he's a military guy. I don't know if that has anything to do with no news is good news in the Mets minor league organization. But
Well,
I don't think Alderson would tolerate that type of stuff. I think if you
dude.
did something like that, he would be.
maybe it's just bad luck, you know. But it's just crazy because we're only talking about. I mean, the earliest 2004, and all this stuff has happened to Texas.
I'm also reading that Matt Bush in high school beat up a high school lacrosse player with a golf club.
Wow.
Yeah.
This guy's aggressive, man.
This guy is crazy.
He's a troublemaker. But
So-
but listen, Doug says, co-host, he's calling in almost. He
Can
says,
we have him call in? That'd be
like,
great.
I got to get the phones working, but strikeout master as
We're
well.
not quite there yet.
Matt Bush, strikeout master as well. Listen, he had a great year, 7-2. I'm looking at right, 7-2.
Yeah.
Isn't that that's just interesting? Listen, I hope he, you know what? I hope he has a great career. I don't just he served his time, and now he's out.
It's really, as
He's
much
out.
as he's screwed up, it's really a good story if you think about it.
He might be the most successful ex-con right now.
Absolutely. Well, nobody's going to be more of a successful ex-con than Rick Vaughn, but
Yeah.
you ever see Major League?
No.
No,
I
you didn't
actually
catch on with
haven't.
that. Okay, I'm
But
sure Doug's
I-
seen Major League, but
But still,
yeah.
pretty good, especially because, and he's 30. Okay, his career isn't over. Pitchers pitch at 30, so
I'm reading a fun fact here, but Bush was originally drafted as a shortstop.
wow.
So
Look at this. You're coming up with it today. Boy.
Bush became the first shortstop drafted first overall from high school since A-Rod,
Wow.
1993. So
And he came up as trouble.
freak talent. This
And
guy.
now A-Rod had a
Unbelievable.
drama career. So
Yeah, well, he didn't quite, run over somebody's head, but
no, but he did the steroids. He
he-
lied about it
yeah.
and all that. But that's not as big of a deal.
That's neither here nor
And
there.
he did, abuse. Abusing steroids is the thing. Or
Hey,
he
what? Say
lied.
what you want to say about A-Rod. I like, I watched
like
him.
A-Rod.
I
I'm
watched
not even
him
gonna
on the Fox Sports, the World
Great, we
Series
talked
pregame.
about it,
That's a
yeah.
great crew, by the way.
Yeah, great.
Alex Rodriguez, Pete Rose. He's just a baseball
They're like
junkie. This guy.
They're like both of them have Pete Rose too. Great baseball guys.
Yeah.
And both of them are like the bad boys of baseball.
Yeah,
Like, in a way.
well,
Well, Alex
Pete
sort of.
Rose was.
Alex sort of.
Alex is a little bit of a prima donna. He just,
Yeah.
he
Because like
he had
they're
trouble
both
with PEDs.
like Alex isn't banned. And he sort of made up for it in 2015. Like he became a good, shining face.
Yeah.
But before, he was known as like a troublemaker, a prima donna. And he didn't always get along with Jeter and stuff,
No,
So-
they were not best friends, to say the
so-
least.
But hey, listen, that's just what happens. This is what an interesting. I know we got about like 3 minutes.
We
left.
literally went from Chris Sale to Rougned Odor to his brother to whacking off players to Matt Bush to A-Rod. That's
This
why I
was
love
the
this show.
This was the craziest second segment I think we've ever done, and I'm so thankful that I remembered this scandal because not only is it terrible, it's terrible.
It's horrible. Yeah.
But I can't.
It's borderline. It's not rape, but it's
It's just-
sexual assault.
Yeah, to be honest though, and it's gonna sound like really bad, but and we were laughing. It was just funny to read because of how unbelievable
Yeah,
it was.
but you
It was
put yourself in their
unbelievable.
shoes for a second.
It was,
That's terrible.
But it's terrible. And listen, this is what happens in the offseason, man. There's no Mets to talk about because we went a whole episode without really talking about Cespedes.
There's nothing to talk about.
That's how.
nothing's-
we still have stuff to talk about. You see us just do an hour. It was great.
Yeah, but nothing's going to happen.
But nothing's
until this,
happening
until
with
this
Cespedes.
agreement is
Not until this agreement goes through.
No.
Not until the winter meetings, which is next week. So
Mm-hmm.
a week from today. So next episode is you're probably going to hear a lot more Mets stuff. But right now we're just you know what we're doing? We're doing what baseball can't do. We're riding out the clock.
That's
baby,
right.
Because we got 58, 53.
Right now, we're kneeling
But
it.
listen. By the way, this gives me a perfect time to announce that if you are listening live, search Ace at the Plate on YouTube, and you will see our channel where you could get all the podcasts. They usually come up. I usually upload them about an hour after I get out of here. And, usually around like 6 or 7 o'clock Eastern. If you're listening on YouTube, you know it. But if you're listening live and you missed a few episodes or you want to go back and listen, please do, and leave a like, or whatever.
Totally.
Sell out. Just sell out advertising. Self promotion. But yeah, we got about 34 seconds left. But I'm really excited about next week.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more to talk about next week.
There was a lot to talk about this week. It's just that it wasn't Mets.
Right.
There was no Mets. There was no Yankees because
right.
there's nothing going on with both teams. So we are going to speak to you next week. We're going to go back into we're going to play our beautiful sponsor messages. So I hope that you all enjoy, and we'll see you next week. Bye,
see you next week, Doug.
Bye, guys. Doug, we'll see you next week.
Marriage is like a walk in the park. Jurassic Park. Enjoy the comical side of marriage with Dr. Ira Epstein through the humor of songs, movies, and stand-up comedy. Come down and laugh on Thursday, December 22nd at 2 p.m. in the Syosset Public Library. For more info, call 516-921-7161 or visit syossetlibrary.org. The community calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Hi there, this is the original Lee Gunboats on the Eclectic Radio Theater. Thursday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to hear everything from classical to jazz to rock and everything in between. Music from the 20s to the 2000s, focusing on a different theme every week. Except no substitutes. This is the original Lee Gunboats on the Eclectic Radio Theater. It's unlike anything you've ever heard before. Thursdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern right here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
This is WCWP Sports Talk, Brookville, New York.